And I know Kanye West is going crazy. Everybody says he's going crazy. He's losing his mind, whatever the case may be. And I'm not even trying to I'm not here to defend or criticize the brother. Whatever is going on with him, shout out to him. I don't know for you, bro. Do your own thing. But for me, I wanted to look at it from a bigger perspective, and I was gonna get clips of what he was saying, but I think I'm just gonna rock out on it once. Everybody knows what's going on. Obviously, for those who don't know, he said, what's it called? George Floyd. He wasn't really. He didn't really die from choking. He put on a White Lives Matter T-shirt. He did all these antics. He pandered to some. He said the Jews are attacking him. He said all kinds of fantastic things, right? And for me, I didn't like as much as. Don't get me wrong. The man is in his own world. I'm not even trying to attack that. But I want to look at it from a bigger perspective. And I feel that it's very interesting how we as people, young, old, black, white, green, blue, it's interesting our relationship with both famous people and celebrities. And I know, and I'm gonna talk on it a little bit further, but it's that the first thing I thought of when I saw, like, I like to listen to clips of things that are going on, like current affairs, general news, like that. When I saw the clips of what was happening, for me, it was just interesting to see how one man, just based on fame or based on talent, has so much cachet with the everyday person. And I feel like that is a kind of dangerous relationship to kind of keep promoting. And I don't mean it to say, like, it's not hate and it's not shade, but how long in our history of technology, in our history of society, history of the internet, how long do we keep putting people in such high places of esteem in our hearts just because they're famous? Like, I don't think it makes much sense, because no matter what, the person may be famous for their name, may be famous for their talent, may be famous for their skill. It doesn't make sense why that person then becomes someone of so much high acclaim to the everyday man. And I don't think it's like it makes sense for us to keep setting up a society like that. Like, I keep saying, like, what makes, let's say, a talented musician all of a sudden an expert on life? Just because they're successful financially? There are other people who are equally as successful in other industries. Is it because they're famous? There are other people who are famous for one reason or the other. So being rich and being famous cannot no longer, like, it doesn't make sense for them to have high levels of acclaim just because they're rich or just because they're famous. Because what happens is that, like, you have people who build people up to high platforms and build people up to high esteem, where they feel entitled to just speak anything that comes out of their mind. If we're not gonna change, like, how we set them up, I feel like it's more important to change how we view them, bro. We can't, like, it doesn't make much sense that just because someone has a certain number of followers, or someone is a really good singer, or someone is a notable rapper or a notable athlete, they become an expert on life. Like, when? Like, why does that correlation automatically, like, I feel like the only people who should be motivated, like, should take hold people in such high regard, are people who are pursuing their profession or their talent. Like, for me, I would only hold the cachet of a Kanye West if I wanted to become a producer. You know what I'm saying? For his talent, for music. I would only hold him in high regard if I wanted to become a musician and his ability to put beats together. But I cannot say I'm going to live my life, let's say, as a father or a businessman or whatever the case may be, based off of the movements of the person or who the person is. You look on, it's like, you don't go to, if you want why is it that when it comes to fame and entertainment specifically, like, if we want information on, let's say, buildings, you know what I'm saying? We go to builders. If we want information on legal stuff, we go to lawyers. But for some strange reason, when it comes to life, we go to entertainers. Like, how does that correlate? Where we hold them to high such esteem that we always take what they say so highly. Now, don't get me wrong. Clearly, they have traits of, like, success because they've worked hard, they've expanded on their talent, they've leveraged their tools, and, now they are where they are. They've been persistent. So there's underlying characteristics when you come to, like, famous people that probably you can take and use as, little bouts of inspiration. Fine. But I feel like there's inspiration, there's role models, and then there's leaders, right? It's inspiration, role models, leaders. I think it's dangerous for the way we set up our brains that we put people who are maybe could be inspirations as leaders, or we put people who could be inspiration as role models. It doesn't make much sense. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who you let into your ears are super important, right? So why do we continue to allow such people such high levels of access to our ears? You know what I mean? Like, it's not shade or it's not shots, but we can't, like, I feel like it's weird in a way that we continue to push people of higher claim just because they're famous, bro. Anybody can be famous. Now, if they're talented, that makes them unique. But unless you want to pursue that same uniqueness of if it's music or if it's an athlete or if it's a whatever, if you can't replicate the uniqueness, they don't need to have cachet in your life, bro. It just no. Why? It doesn't make much sense to me. So as much as Kanye West is going crazy and he's saying a lot of crazy stuff, I'm not gonna lie, it's not necessarily him who's like him. He is who he is, bro. But I feel it's that, as people begin to show you who they are, believe them, number one, but don't overly rate them. Why? Just because someone is a rapper or someone is a singer or a dancer or Insta famous, they deserve cachet in your life. Now you call them leaders of society? What kind of nonsense is that? Like, for what? Like, why? No. You can't lead nothing in my life, bro. Nah, I might look at your underlying things. I might look at your underlying, characteristics. You were persevering. You know what I'm saying? You persevered and now you succeeded. I respect that. I can learn from that. You leverage your talents. I can respect that. I can learn from that. But to now tell me you now have a say when it comes to my views on leadership or my views on society or my views. Why? So if you know that inherently that when someone is talented, they can't. It's like you don't tell your lawyer to lead your life just because they're your lawyer. You don't tell your doctor for life points just because they're good at checking your heart rate. So why then do you ask entertainers, or why then do you put so much cash into entertainers' life just because they're good at entertaining you? Why? So it's anyway. It's interesting. Again, this is a rant. I love to rant. It's interesting to see that like when it comes to entertainment, because we put so much value in it, they all of a sudden become life leaders. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's very much interesting to see. So I thought I'd give my 2 cents on it. But other than that, I hope him well in all things. It's good, but hey, the PYM militia. I just like saying that. We over here, we can't be putting square. What do they say? Put square blocks in round holes. No, I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's the best thing to do for this thing. So let them be there. You can be aware, but you don't have to be involved. You know what I mean? Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your time. But other